Michael, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I know you have a lot going on right now. You just launched a book. How is it going with that?
It's fantastic, a completely new experience. We have only experience obviously with building a D2C brand and an online brand first, and then going to retail. So um, having a book come out with a publisher, very interesting experience. How long this takes, how old school publishing works, and coming from an online world, right, where everything's so quick. This was a 2-year project. The book is called Your Super Life, and we hope to reach a lot of people, and we get great feedback. And we really want with the book, right, help people eat healthier and make it easier. We're all busy. I know your listeners are busy, right, with our own lives, building stuff, doing stuff. But really fueling your body is so important and will actually make performance better than before.
How was that process writing a book? I can imagine it's very different from the day to day of growing a D2C brand.
It's painfully long, I can tell you, because the publishing world is still so old school, is what I said, and they needed 12 months before it's published.
Sure.
So it will take a few months to write, and then the whole design and cover design. So you work with that publisher, and it's 12 months out, and we're like 12 months out. I mean, we don't know what we're doing in 12 months, right? In an online world, it's like, hey, next week is long. Let's test and learn. Let's test and learn, and having going through this was very long, but excited to see it come to fruition, right? Because it's a 2-year project. It can all together, and having the final product is great.
I had so much fun researching for this episode. You have such a unique and inspiring founder story. And I was thinking about different ways to formulate my questions. There are certain keywords that come to mind, like cancer diagnosis and documentary and plant-based diet. So I think the easiest thing to do is to hand the mic to you and tell us about your journey and how you came to co-found your super.
Yeah, it's a very personal story, and it's our personal passion, and became our personal passion from a personal story. I was diagnosed with cancer at age 24. That was now 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago to this day almost. And that was a complete shock. I was an athlete all my life, growing up in Germany, playing tennis, going to the US with a scholarship, playing tennis, and I can remember the day when I felt something wrong, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And then the diagnosis came a few months later. Complete shock. I was on top of the world, 24, ready to tackle on the world. Just graduated with my master's, and here I was back in my hometown after traveling the world, sitting in this urologist office and getting a diagnosis. Hey, it's cancer. And from there, I was trying to get through this. And in the end, yeah, that journey going through this made me realize, okay, why are people getting sick, right? This why question popped up in my head all the time. Why did I get sick? Why are people getting sick? Why are people getting cancer? And then ultimately, why are people getting other certain disease? And when I started researching, what I found out completely shocked me, that you just don't have to go far. Just Google it, and on the WHO, there's all of the information is there. They say, hey, 50% of your cancers are from all cancers in the world, right? And are certain due to the different risk factors. And one of the risk factors is what we eat. And so I was like, oh my God, this was this light bulb moment. It was like, I can't control every risk factor. I can't control everything in my life, but I can control what I eat. And that was my mantra then. Hey, I never want to go through this again. And I want to control what I fuel my body, and want to make sure I eat the healthiest I can. And then Crystal, my now wife, and back then girlfriend, was in my life for 5 years, and she was this health nut already. And she trying to improve my immune system after going through this, giving me all the superfoods. And I'm a critical German guy, saying, hey, what are these superfoods? Is this a new trend? What are these things? No idea what a wheatgrass is, a barley grass, what I'm supposed to do with this. And when I started researching this, as well, I learned this is nothing new. People have used food as medicine for hundreds, thousands of years, right, in different communities around the world. And I started feeling better. We're mixing superfoods together. We're like, hey, when Michael can do it, it's so easy for him to use these different powders, right? And in a functional mix. Let's start a business and help more people get more nutrition in, get more plants in their diet. And that's how Your Super was born in 2014. That we started for ourselves, developed products, and then we went out on the market, and it grew now the last 10 years, and all cultivated now in writing a book, actually. And that's kind of how the journey started, and uh, still very passionate about helping people to eat healthier.
You talk in the book about the documentary Fork Over Knives and how that had such a big impact on the two of you. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so Crystal watched this when I went through chemo. I wasn't ready to do anything through chemo. I was just going through the motions, and my mindset was, let's just get through it. But she her mom had cancer when she was 12. I had cancer. She was like, what is going on, right? So many people, and you probably know in your immediate family, I know in my immediate family, there's so many people, right? This is so this disease. And so she watched Forks Over Knives, where they're basically saying, hey, you can turn on and off cancer genes with the way we eat. There's this huge China study that's well documented, and they tested, hey, if you eat more plants, what is the effect on your chance you're getting cancer, and significantly lower if you eat a more plant-based diet. That was a light bulb moment for her, saying, I'm turning plant-based. And then she came to me and said, hey, I watched this, and I wasn't ready. So for me, it was more a process to get there, as I was a meat-eating German, right? Coming from that cultural background and family. So for me, it took a little bit. Once I watched it, I was like, okay, this is groundbreaking. I should definitely watch what I eat. And over time, we become plant-based. I've been plant-based now for 10 years. And yeah, and that became our passion, right? To make it easier for people to do that.
So you both have these realizations and decide to start the business. How do you gain traction in the beginning? You were based in Germany and also Holland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Crystal is Dutch, so we started in the apartment from us there, from parents' apartment. It was cheap, right? We didn't have to pay rent, and we just started saying, "Hey, let's put up a Shopify shop and see if anybody would pre-sell." And miraculously, somehow people, not besides friends and family, obviously they were pre-selling and trying to get something from us. People were finding us and ordering. So within 2 weeks, we designed a label, we designed different mixes, and started selling. And we just did it. We didn't have a business plan. We didn't think about anything. We just started this online shop and grew from there. And initial traction was a lot going to meet our customers in farmers markets, iterating the product, getting the feedback, right? So many times we was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. And then, like, okay, we need to iterate our formula, our smoothie, and how we present it. And getting all this feedback in was essential. And then we had a lot of Instagram back then and social media. And we just sent our products out to everybody, right? The only thing we could do was basically bear the product cost and ship all the products out to everybody we could think of. And from that, we slowly got traction on social media. People found us, and that's how it started.
How did you source ingredients and ensure quality in the beginning, especially when you didn't know a lot about this market?
That's a great question. It was a lot of learning, and everything was a lot of learning, from packaging to sourcing to ingredients to everything. So in the beginning, we were like obviously finding wholesalers and going into the superfood industry and what is a superfood, right? And having this really potent ingredients like wheatgrass or barley grass, spirulina, acai, etc. We were seeing huge differences from where we would source it. So we were like, I remember so vividly, we ordered some wheatgrass from Germany, and it came green and smelled really like grass. And then we ordered some wheatgrass from China, which was a tenth of the price, both organic. We only did 100% organic, which was yellow, didn't smell like grass, was just very different quality, but it was a tenth of the price, right? So we realized, okay, if we want to help people eat healthier, the quality needs to be so top notch. So we're gonna endure the pricing increase, right? We're gonna pay the top pricing just to have the best quality, and that's how we then changed our entire supply chain to then know exactly where everything comes from. So we visit our farmers in Germany. We went there, and we're on the grass fields where our wheatgrass was grown. The same for stuff in Peru, the same for stuff in Brazil. Always trying to do as local as possible, but then also, right, going in the world and finding these incredible ingredients. And that was one of our main values. Then we know where everything comes from. Whatever comes in our can, people can trace it back to the farmer, right? And have that quality assurance, and know this is full of nutrients.
What was the landscape like at the time? Did you have a lot of competitors, or was this still a growing market?
Superfoods have been around for a long time, especially in more hippie-ish organic stores since the 50s, 60s. It's funny, when we first came to the US, to California, on so many farmers markets, people were like, "What are you even selling? That's nothing new. We have been doing spirulina cleanses since the 70s." And we're like, "Yeah, we just make it more modern and more approachable for the younger generation and the next generation." But they have been around. What was new for us was that we combined different superfoods to have really functional mixes, right? From your daily greens to energy boosting, to antioxidants, to chocolate, right, which was really mood and sleep aid, some protein, so very functional. So even people didn't know anything about spirulina, they're like, "Oh, I want more greens, right? Oh, I want more energy, right?" And so we made it easy for people to just get in the game. So that was very new back then. But funny enough, we started when the complete superfood market crashed in Holland. There was a hype of superfoods before, then we started, and it was crashing, and we didn't even know that it was crashing, but we started anyways. And then from there, it's a growing market. There are a lot of competitors now, especially last 2, 3, 4 years, and a lot of people do powders now. We were very early with functional mixes. Now a lot of people do that too, but that's what it is. I see that as something that we're in the right trend, right? A macro trend where everything is going.
I definitely feel like it's become more of a, I don't want to say trend, but there is something to be said about superfoods and podcast sponsorships and
Yeah.
influencer marketing. And it definitely feels like it's a product that a lot more people are buying into maybe than, say, 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. In the last few years, I mean, we feel like a lot of influencers have their own products now, right? And that was just different in 4 or 5 years ago. But it's also great. If this is helping all of us eating healthier, right, and make it easier, I would always caution everybody, look at the ingredients list from anything that's new in the market, right, and looks fancy and colorful and stuff. Please look at the ingredients list, not only from powders, from everything you're consuming. And if there's anything you don't understand and starts with an X or a Z or something weird, where you need a chemistry class for, don't consume it. It's go for something cleaner. For example, we only have 5 ingredients and 5 or 6 ingredients. That's it. We don't have any fillers or any sugars, any flavors, nothing, right? It's just pure nature. So whenever you see anything, be curious and skeptical and look at the ingredients list.
I want to talk about you moving to the US. I was doing some research and I found in one interview you were talking about how your US customers at the time were willing to wait 4 weeks, pay $25 shipping. It didn't make any sense. Can you talk about that transition from moving to Europe to the US?
Yeah, so it was 2016, and we saw actually that 10% of our customers came from the US already. And we're like, "Well, is this possible?" Right? We're in Berlin. We moved to Berlin in the meantime and opened an office there. Why are people ordering that, right? They do have to pay in euros, apart from $25 in dollars. They have to pay in euros. And as we know, they don't like that very much. They don't understand how much it is. And have to insane amount of shipping and wait so long. And most of the time, we didn't realize also the package came damaged and stuff, so we had to resend it, and it cost us a lot of money. So we like, let's call all of them. So that was our approach. Let's call our customers up, ask them why are they ordering, and we called them all up, It was not so many back then. The percentage numbers is higher than it was actually in total, obviously, because we're a small company. So we called them all up and said, hey, why are you ordering from us? And what we realized, they really understood our value proposition, which was clean ingredients, no stevia, no sugars, anything, the functionality of the product, the clean supply chain and transparency in the supply chain. They all told us. It was like, oh, this is great. And then we had a giving back, this one-to-one model, which we always wanted to build a social business, like Tom's Shoes and Warby Parker, etc. And they all got it. So we called them up. They said, hey, our question was, don't you have enough powders in the US? Because when we visited the US, it was like so many powders. But yeah, being cleaner and having something of higher standards, that was what people looking for. And then we did, we took the leap of faith and said, okay, if they get it without doing marketing there, if they get our values, then let's go over there and start slow and see if that's really a market. And that was 2017. We went over and raised a little bit money, and 2018 and beyond, we almost exploded. That's because people were looking for clean options.
We talked a little bit about influencer marketing, and I wanted to ask you, and I understand this is quite a broad question, how do you approach marketing and customer acquisition? Were there any particular channels other than the aforementioned that worked really well for you?
I mean, social paid worked really well, and I would say we really focused on the storytelling part. We wanted to tell our story, and so many people, I think, and brands do a lot of functional marketing, I would call it, right? What are the functions, the benefits of the product? But we're buying decisions are made so much more because of emotions and do I like the brand, right? What emotions do they get into myself, right? And so we had to figure it out. It was painful and long, and a lot of things didn't work, as you can imagine. But once we figured out the storytelling part, right? Being authentic, telling my story, telling our supplier's story, right? There's so many stories to tell usually in a business, right? Because people are passionate about it. Then people started saying, hey, this is a fantastic company, I'm going to buy. So the products are almost coming secondary, right? If you have a great story where people really get touched and said, oh, this is fantastic, I want this, because they feel good, right? Feel a certain way. And that was really our insight. And to this day, right? And we know that in the world of so much noise, of so much distraction, and it's so hard to cut through as a marketer, the right creatives, the right storytelling is winning.
It's so fascinating. It's a theme that comes up a lot on this podcast, this idea of being a founder and having a very compelling story and telling that story over and over again in your marketing materials. I love going on the website. I love reading the story of the brand. You and Christelle are very much the face of that brand. And I do feel like that is something that a lot more e-commerce brands are missing. They're not putting themselves in that story.
Yeah, because people buy from people, right? Ultimately. And what works for us as smaller companies, right, is that really personal relationship with our customers, right? Otherwise, people buy from the big ones, right? And the big ones struggle to innovate and to be that personable, right? That's why they're buying all the smaller ones, right? Usually, because it's hard for them to be so authentic and personable. But people like it. People like to go there to the corner store, right? And all the people. And we all like it in different areas. And the same with online, right? You want to know where you're buying from, and that's will continue to be like this, right? And marketing is just telling a good story, I think, that is compelling, that people interest and touches people, right? Helps people somewhat.
I'm on the website now and I'm going through some of the product pages. This might be more of a technical question, but were you optimizing for subscriptions or one-time offers? What did that look like once the visitor was on the website? What did you want them to do, and what did that journey look like?
So we had multiple iterations. We're far from perfect, I feel like, on the website. For the longest time, we wanted them to ideally go into a bundle, just try to get our cart values up to make sense with our spending, etc. Because it's really competitive, right? And a $30 product, it's hard to win, right, with $30 AOVs. So we always wanted people to start with a bundle to have fully immersive experience also. So our biggest bundle and biggest success was our detox bundle, which was a 5-day program where people could sign up, right, for detox, get all the materials, be part of a group that does a detox 5 days. And once you experience that in 5 days, and it's crazy, something where you can actually in 5 days, you can be completely different in terms of taste and how you feel if you eat healthy. And it only takes 5 days. People were hooked, obviously, right? They were hooked about the products and the lifestyle. And from there we could, right, funnel them further into different products and different offerings. So for us, it was important, not right away go on a subscription, but rather have a bundle experience first, where they guided through the experience and helped, and then go through further into subscription.
What role did email marketing play in the growth of the brand?
Super important. In email was always is always 20 to 30% of our revenues, right? And back to my point, right? Email is still very powerful to tell a story, right? How do people get into a brand, right? What is that opening sequence, right? Where people are guided, especially we have a product that requires some recommendations, right? And explanations too, right? It's not a super easy product because it's powder. And for a lot of people who don't know anything about healthy eating, they're like, okay, what am I doing with this powder, right? So having this opportunity, right, to get close to the customer, have them guided through that sequence, especially in the beginning, reminded. I'm a huge fan of email marketing. And I know you guys are all really good at this, but it's just where you have the customer, right? And you can lose him, or you can win him over, and with the way you communicate with them. And usually it's through email or text or whatever now, but usually email.
Is SMS something you tried in the past?
SMS is where, more and more, I think, too, but we're also getting, we know that as customers, we're getting so much text now too. I feel like, text is great, but email still is powerful, right? I read good newsletters, and some brands do a really good job. And it's not even about the volume sometimes, but I have brands now, I read newsletters because it's like once a month thing, and it's so powerful that I just read it. Or every Friday or whatever, or 3 times a week. It doesn't matter if the content is great, right? We're reading it.
Yeah.
And text is a little more, right, more transactional sometimes, but has all its place. But I feel email is important.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the industry as a whole today. You've been in this industry a long time. What are the biggest changes you've noticed over the last few years?
In terms of our industry and Superfood, there's so many more players. I think quality, wouldn't say that it's better quality out there. Is so many people just now throwing healthy product on the market just to grab some market share maybe, and have a product out there. I feel I have noticed that a lot, right? Protein powders here and there, this powders there. And I wish there would be more skepticism about this, because in the end, right, it's all about, for me, helping people, and having this terrible products out there is not great.
For brands listening to this now, especially brands that are in very competitive industries, what do you think is the differentiator that makes a difference, aside from storytelling and having a compelling founder story?
I think the focus on your customer, the customer obsession, is a make or break, I think, for smaller companies. To be super authentic, to be close to your customers, to understand them, to nurture them, to help them, to have fantastic customer service. All the things we're trying to do, because it's so competitive. We need to stand out in these categories, right? Do people really know what your super stands for, right? Understand the brand? Do they feel like taken care of? We always talk about we're the health buddy of our community, right? This idea of building this community around our customers becomes more and more important then. And I would encourage everybody to look at our customers, because it's so expensive, right? And then getting even more expensive by the day to acquire customers. Keep the ones you have, nurture them, and you will be successful.
What does your day-to-day look like now? If I understand correctly, you and Christelle sold the company and you're continuing to work in an advisory role. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we're still the face of the brand, and we're excited to actually focus on all the things we love to do, is inspiring people, helping people, making recipes, doing some social stuff, podcast like with you now, talking about the brand. So we're doing that, and promoting a little bit our book on the side as well, which has been fun to talk about, and being here for our community. We'll do community events. We just had a community detox last week, where we talked to our community, etc. So going live, being there for them, as we're doing right now.
Can you talk a little bit about community? Because it means different things to different founders, and I'm always curious to hear different founders' opinions on what it is and how other brands can grow theirs.
Community for me is building a group of people that ultimately help each other, right? Regardless of your brand. I think really thriving communities can self-sustain, right? And we're just there to help moderate, but also let people talk to each other, right? Inspire each other. And that's for us how we build a community. We all put them in a group together, and have them communicate with each other, share feedback with each other, help each other. We had community leaders from within our customers that we ended up hiring, right? And how we build community, we're showing up, right, all the time for our community. We're going live. Crystal and me were going live. For example, in pandemic, we were for 90 days straight live every day, to show them how to cook healthy at home, right? As we all were quarantined, basically. And so this kind of thing, how we did, and how we build community, is ultimately the goal is, can the community help each other, right? And self-sustain.
It's a heck of a journey that you've been on, from cancer diagnosis to selling the company to doing everything you're doing now. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What's next?
What's next? It's being part of my mission, right? My mission is to help people eat healthier with the power of plants, and that will be my mission forever. And I'm excited about it because that helps me, guiding me, right? If and anybody's listening was like, oh, what is he talking about? I feel like it's really important to figure out what's your mission, right? What's your purpose? What's your mission? And it will take trial and error. For me now, that's pretty clear. What I want to do is helping that, right? Helping my mission to help people, inspire people, millions of people. That's the goal. And that will come in different formats, right? Whether it's with a book, with our own podcast, with more content Crystal and me were providing, more products we're rolling out. All these things are coming, but all with under this guiding principle of making it easier and helping people to eat healthier.
Super inspiring stuff, Michael. I think that's a great place to bookmark this conversation. Where can our listeners go to learn more about what you and Christelle are doing and your super?
You can check out, obviously, yoursuper.com, your Superfoods Instagram, or go to crystalandmichael.com. Shoot us a message on Instagram, Crystal and Michael. Check out our podcast. It's called Your Super Life. And also our book. It's called Your Super Life. So if you want to take a step forward on that direction, eat more plants, get more performance out of you, and just healthier and feel better, shoot us a message.
Perfect. Well, we'll put all those links in the show notes. And Michael, I want to say once more, thanks again for taking the time to join us today, and all the best of luck with the book and the brand and everything else in between.